Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about the inspiration for making the documentary and what really inspired you both to make the film and how the process got started over.
Yes, for me, it was really a continuation of my first film in which I explored the story of exile of my Algerian paternal grandparents and how you transmit your story despite displacement and exile. And this second film is really focused on 4 generations of Palestinian women. So I keep on exploring the transmission in the context of in the family with the context of displacement, but this time focusing on the path of women and their strength and ability to maintain their legacy alive despite dispossession and war. And so and loss, yeah.
Mhm. And then, while you were making the film, not only reflecting on your both of your backgrounds, but was there any additional research that you both did to better understand just everything in general, or what was that experience like of reflecting on your own personal backgrounds as well?
I'll let Lina answer this because I just have I have to be clear about the fact that I wasn't really involved in the artistic process at all. So like the movie was made by Lina, thought of by Lina, and it's, as she said, it's a continuation of her first cat, like around her paternal family's background story, and then like her maternal one. And I just like happened to be part of the um, the transmission, how would I say it, like element in the story, one of the fourth generations that Lina is talking about. So I'll let her answer really like about like anything that has to do with the movie itself was Lina's choices and not mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the research, it was more about, first of all, trying to write the stories of the women of my family to know exactly what kind of story I was trying to get. So there was a lot of writing with my co-author and researching into family objects, family albums, family poems that I found, all the old texts that I found. And then it was doing a research on archival footage and what is available about the story of historical Palestine and Tiberias. So looking at videos and photos from the 20s, from the 30s, from the 40s, and very different sources of like different sources all around the globe, because you have a lot of the archives is really scattered. So you have some things in Europe, some things in the US. So you have to look at hours of videos in order to be able to find what you are looking for.
Also, Lena, I wanted to ask you about directing the film as well and what that experience was like for you in approaching the directing.
For me, it was a challenge because I had to find ways to tell the story without being too frontal or too classical. So I really wanted to use the texts and the poems that I inherited from to be able to rewrite some poetic text also to give a depth to the story of these women. So it was a lot of writing, a lot of scouting, and I always, when I work, I like to write a bit and then shoot and then rewrite from the images and then start editing and then reshoot from the editing. So like nothing is very linear, everything builds up, and I really like to do back and forth because I think that in documentary it's very hard to write and then shoot. I think you keep on writing until the end, even in the editing room. So I was writing a lot in the editing room. The voiceover was written also in the editing room one after I shot everything. So it was really interesting for me to explore new ways of storytelling, a new language, also to try to find my cinematic language. And I'm very happy that I could explore all these things because I wasn't sure everything would work. Some things I didn't keep because it didn't work, and some things work. So that was interesting.
And then I also wanted to ask you both about working together and developing the film. And was there a process that you both discussed together and how you wanted to bring the direction of the film and telling the story? And what was your just general collaboration together during the film?
For me, it was a long process of few years where Lina was exploring as well, really what she wanted to say in this movie and how I mean, she knew, I think, what she wanted to say, but how to tackle everything so that everything is, in a way, gets to be authentic, to be like a narrative in a way, even if it's documentary. And she talked me through the scenes that she wanted me to be acting as if I was acting my past, and then others where I just would be like, sitting with my mother and with my sisters. She just would put me in the situation and let her camera go, and if anything, just like, she wanted specifically in that moment, she would just like whisper in my ear, to take the situation wherever she wanted to take it. So like I really felt like I was an actress again, directed by a director, but in a way it was a little bit different, in the sense that I wasn't just like, costumed or made up for a specific character. It was almost like me, my story, in within, like the big story of all the other women that are part of the narrative of this movie. And it took years, it wasn't just like easy from the beginning. At the beginning, it was a tough process, I think, for me and for Lina, because suddenly, like, the camera is there and the camera is getting into your intimacy, and the camera is just like digging for things that you have not shared in public with anybody, and not even sometimes with Lina herself. So getting there wasn't really an easy task, not for me and not for her. But I think with the trust, with the time, with trying, with, going from one step to another, I at one stage I let go, and I just like really decided to trust Lina totally, and just like give her whatever she needed from me in order to get her to say what she wanted to say in this movie.
Also, I wanted to ask about the cinematography in the film as well, and what was that experience like for you in particular, Lena, and really getting to work with your DPs on the film and really figuring out how you wanted to visually shoot them.
Yeah, so I started filming myself because my first film I filmed myself, and I really felt that I needed to have someone with me because it was difficult for me to film all these characters, and I really wanted to give a cinematic look to the film. So I looked for a women DOP from the Arab region that spoke Arabic fluently, and that was a woman, which was not an easy task, but there are not many women DOPs in general, and not many women DOPs in the region. But I found a great DOP called Frida Marzouk, who worked on several films that lately were in International Film Festival. She was the DOP of Under the Fig Trees that was in Cannes last year, a Tunisian very beautiful film, and as many other films she worked on. And so Frida came with me and was able to accompany me in this work. Really, she was really the right person to be able to film the intimacy of my family, while giving a real cinematic look to the film. And of course, then I have a lot of archival footage that I worked in coloring to give like a sense of homogeneity to the film, because there are so many different sources. So we gave a look to each time and place, each time space, in order that we could feel that we jumped from a time to another, but without disrupting too much the viewer. So it was a reflection. We had a lot of conversation on that.
And also, speaking about the archival footage, what was that process like in working together to figure out which footage to include in the film and really focusing on that aspect of the film as well?
I was surprised by what Lina found. I mean, I knew the family footage, which is like when she was young, and when I was visiting my parents when Lina was really very, very, very like a baby, and like even a little bit older than that, but like at a very young age. These images I knew, I've seen them. I mean, they are in the archival of the personal family, like with her dad. But all the historical footage I was not aware of at all, because Lina just like went through the research herself in order to try and find whatever she needed for that. And that narration, she rewrote the story in a way, and she really kind of like put women in their context and in their past and in their memory and in the places that they lost, and you know, and years that they you know, they forgot all about, especially after their death, both of them, my mom and my grandma. So I wasn't really involved in that process at all. I mean, I'm like yourself. At one stage, Lina came to show me the movie, and I just discovered a whole different narration that I wasn't aware of. I knew in my background and from my talks with Lina that this is what she's looking for, but I had no clue really about what exactly she was looking for, and how she drew the movie with all these archives connected to the real interviews or the real scenes that she shot in the movie, and the footage of the personal family that her dad has shot when we were going to the village when she was young.
And once you gathered all the archive footage and filmed everything for the movie, what was the editing process like? You mentioned a little earlier, Lina. So I just wanted to follow up on that experience and really figuring out how you wanted to put the final version of it.
So the editor Gladys Joujou was part of the writing also with my co-writer Nadine Naous, because she edited my previous film, and she actually started working on the film before we edited. So she reads the, you know, the treatment that we wrote, and we talked a lot about what I wanted to shoot before going to shoot. And so the editing process is a rewriting process, because we spend a lot of time thinking of the writing before really getting into the material. And we actually wrote the voiceover in the editing room with my editor, with my co-writer, and with another Palestinian writer called Karim Qattan, who collaborated on the writing. So it was really a collective work. And on the editing, the editor Gladys is really very sensitive. So she's really into details, and it's like, you know, it's like knitting. It's really little piece by little piece, and how things go together and different layers. So she's really an amazing editor, and I couldn't have done this film without her, because she, on the one side, she's also from the region, as she comes from Lebanon, so she has an understanding of the language and of the characters and of their path. And on the other side, she gives me like a distant professional look on the film, so she helps me build the story in the best way.
And now with the documentary premiering at TIFF, what has that experience been like for you both as well, to share the movie at the festival with audiences?
It was really, first of all, it's an honor to be in this festival, which is such a prestigious and remarkable place for films. The audience at TIFF is really warm and really cinephile. So I think it's a great thing to be here, to exchange with the audience here. And it was really an honor yesterday to have our premiere. And I can't wait to have our second screening in 2 days. So it's great for the film to be able to have such a beautiful platform to start its life. I couldn't be,
especially after Venice.
Yeah, after Venice, yeah, I couldn't be happier.
Okay, I think that was mainly it, but thank you both again for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good
You're
day.
welcome.
Have a good
great
day.
day. Great.